Beverly and I share a passion for teaching the fundamentals of statistics to general education students who may never take another course in statistics. We have discussed the dilemma we face in teaching null hypothesis significance test, or NHST, as if that were the gold standard among practicing statisticians, when we know there is legitimate criticism against it. This venue seems like a good place to summarize the variety of perspectives on the topic that were presented in the 2019 special issue of the American Statistician for instructors like us with limited exposure to varying opinions about the appropriateness in teaching such a key component of our courses.
Sir Ronald A. Fisher receives a lot of blame for this dilemma, perhaps an unfair proportion of it. His 1925 book for teaching statistics outside the mathematics discipline does say that it is convenient to use 0.05 as a limit, but in an article 5 years later he was offering other possibly useful limits when 1 in 20 was not high enough odds, implying room for informed discretion. Raymond Hubbard has done an analysis of articles published in more recent decades, comparing the high citation rates of 24 publications that were severely critical of NHST with the proportion of published articles in leading journals for the social and managerial sciences. While the citations for these criticisms grew to 23,000, the proportion of NHST-dependent research publications grew from 50-some% to over 90%. Reasonable doubts about replication and reproducibility have led some journals to ban p-values entirely. In response, the American Statistical Association issued a statement and followed up with a special issue of the American Statistician, one of the association's leading journals. It is an overview of this open access issue that Jerry and I would like to share with you by categorizing the 44 articles to narrow your focus if time is a constraint. A color-coded table of contents and link to the open access articles is attached to this presentation. The journal issue begins with an editorial piece entitled "Moving to a World Beyond P less than 0.05. That makes the case for needing this professional discussion. There were 14 others that we put into this category as high-level, big-picture type of articles. Besides the leading editorial, several other titles seem to reveal a definite stance on one side of the issue or the other. Most of these, including those whose titles I've listed here, take care to acknowledge the competing opinions and challenges of steering any course that would avoid objection.
There are 12 articles that propose ways to buttress the p-value with additional computations, making changes in writing and publication practices, or otherwise amending current practice that has led researchers into troubled waters. These are a few titles to demonstrate the range of the proposals. Another 10 articles proposed more drastic measures to replace p-values, espousing techniques such as those listed here. 4 other articles provided some actual analysis of alternative methods. Of particular interest might be the assessment of the methods being used by researchers getting published in Basic and Applied Social Psychology after the ban on p-values.
Finally, and perhaps of greatest interest to this audience, there were 3 articles that specifically address the teaching of statistics. Many of the other articles also acknowledge the chicken and egg situation beautifully captured here by George Cobb in a 2014 ASA forum.
We hope that we have provided enough information to encourage your professional development and add some things to your summer reading list. As Beverly said earlier, there is an attachment that color codes the titles of all 44 articles in the special issue of the American Statistician into the categories we have just named. There are also links to the ASA statement on p-values and the open access site where these articles are all available for download as a PDF or EPUB. Thank you for for stopping by our virtual poster.